Hey, my name is Phyllis Serene, and I'm going to invite you to have a conversation. Now, this conversation is probably long overdue, but it addresses one that we have really a need to talk about, and that's the shame in sexuality. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. When I was 5 years old, my parents brought me to Okinawa, one of the Japanese islands, and as a military kid, I was free to explore in my community. And so one day I was riding my little bicycle around and came across this 12 by 12 cinder block room. And it had a ring on the floor and on the ceiling and each of the three walls. But then when I popped my head into the room, I noticed the walls behind me had these beautiful images of naked women in bondage. And frankly, I was aroused. And what I discovered was there was a space for sexuality and art and this feeling that was going on in our bodies, and it was amazing. But I was a lucky kid as well, and so when I went home, my parents, I discovered, were reading Masters and Johnson and Alfred Kinsey reports. And I remembered my dad had some Playboys under his bed, and I went and looked at them and discovered, hey, that's what I'm going to look like when I grow up, and how cool is that? So along with that, though, however, I was raised a Catholic school girl, and the challenge of that was there was no conversation about sexuality. There was no, this is okay, this is a good thing. And it was just not talked about. And at the age of 20, I then became a missionary. And for the next 12 years, I did a lot of study. I looked at Judaism, I looked at Islam, and I looked at Christianity, and realized there was a lot of what not to do, but nothing about how to healthily express that loving, emotional, and amazingly powerful experience of sexuality. So at the age of 32, I decided I've had enough, and I needed to go back and understand those early roots. And so I picked up BDSM again in the fetish world and became a dominatrix. And through my practice and as a personal lifestyle player, as well as a professional practitioner, I was able to work with lots of clients who hid their expression of sexuality from their partners and sought me out as a safe space to who they could communicate with and share their deepest emotional and expressions. And through that practice, whether it was spanking or having their toes sucked or some of the darker arts like pedophilia or bestiality, it really opened up a conversation of how do we heal? How do we go from this shameful place to a thriving place and feeling good about oneself? So my work over the last few years has been to really harness that conversation and bring opportunities to be a sounding board to anyone who needs me, and to help you express who you are as an individual, as a human, and to help you heal yourself and to move forward in that area. But the success I've had has really been amazing to me to see where people can go from pain and sorrow and trauma to feeling good about themselves and being able to lovingly communicate and be received and accepted and loved for who they are. So I invite you to care enough about yourself, to be vulnerable, to have those tough conversations. Let me be that sounding board, that non-judgmental, who will support you and where you want to go. I want to see you release the trauma and heal. I want to see you redirect that sexual energy that has been stifled into a positive transmutation that will see you be the human you are meant to be. Make sure and follow me on phyllisraleigh.com or find me on Facebook. But release the shame, heal, and embrace who you really are meant to be. Namaste, y'all.